I guess Palsteron here, and today I'll talk about my day 2 update for the Kinetic Fusillade Ballista Paladin. At this stage, I've done 115 out of 115 map completion simply to unlock my idols. I'm about to do Exile Eater. The league overall has been quite hard because of the gauntlet, but even more so in maps because of the extra map modifiers. So everything is like, I don't know, 50 to 100% more tanky and 50 to 100% harder in terms of how it hits. So yeah, the character needed a lot more, but I was still quite surprised at how well this actually did. I've been upgrading the character very similarly to how I presented it before the league started, and everything has been working out quite like a charm. But I will also be talking about the new circumstances of this league, what it means in terms of defenses and what you have to prioritize. All right, so I'm currently 93. I am about to do my invitations. After that, I'm going to do the rest of my unlocks because, yeah, I need them to get my extra idols. Very important for people who are unlocking their idols. The most important unlocks to get are, if I'm seeing correctly, 1, 2 on the bottom right here, because it will let you use 4 2x2s. If you don't know, 2x2 idols are the craziest ones. And if you can, grab yourself a scarabs found in your maps are more likely to be less common variety. This is what you usually take on every single passive tree, and it is just a single mod on a 2x2. It can be a little bit more expensive, but you only need one. Also, a little tip before we go into the build. If you want to make a little bit of money and you got some gold, gamble for items and go over here, gamble for random Conqueror idols, and actually go and check what these mods are worth. Conqueror idols have very specific mods that are built around, right? So they can be just one mod, can be up to 100 chaos, sometimes 200, and sometimes it just sells back. People are also 3-to-1ing them. You can 3-to-1 them, but for example, if you have magic ones, you can only 3-to-1 magic ones, and if you have rare ones, 3-to-1 rare ones. So even the bricked ones you can either sell or, yeah, vendor yourself. Right at the start, I want to talk about chain real quickly. I always say don't go for chain maps early, and that's usually fine, but this league we have random modifiers, and one of them is enemies chain. And what happens is your totems will receive projectiles and they will all chain on top of you. It's really rough because the chain range of some enemies is pretty crazy. Like you could be standing here, they hit here, and then they hit you. It is crazy, and it is antithetical to why totems are good in terms of playstyle and how safe you are. So get yourself the avoid projectiles that have chained ASAP. Now, the way you get this is with Ormud, which I think was in, yeah. So in Forking River, which is a tier 16. Watch out. It is pretty hard to do at the start. Just try it as soon as possible. Run it white, whatever you need to, with a divine vessel as per usual. But I don't know if vessels are worth anything right now. Should not be too bad. Yeah, they're like 2 chaos each. And yeah, just try to get it done and the game is going to be a lot easier. Otherwise, avoid the chain stuff at all costs. Now, getting into the character, the most important thing at the start, everything is going to hit a lot harder. Everything is going to be tankier. That means that your expectations of how you usually progress should be kind of thrown out of the window because, yeah, yellow maps feel like red maps and red maps feel like something else. That is how the league works. Overall, I will go through a few things right here. The first one is, in terms of defenses, the most important one, and I will reiterate it again and again, get yourself a high-level Heart of Flame Xoftgraft. This will double your HP pool. It just gives you a huge shield. Now, if you can get either CDR or increased duration, skills used by this craft have CDR. That is the best possible modifier. That's even better. You have it almost up all the time. So that's really important. The second thing that is different than usual is I went for Chaos Res as soon as possible. And I'm currently already sitting at 56%. And what I got was this ring right here, which has around about 50 res and also some life. And I'm also trying to get hybrid res. That is one of the easier ways to get chaos res, because chaos res can get quite expensive, so you can see those everywhere. And yeah, it is what it is. The maps are harder, so chaos res is going to be important earlier. My block right now is not perfect. One thing I want to reiterate on is we are using Versatile Combatant. So you're not, if you want spell block, you're not looking for spell block, you're looking for normal block. You want to overcap block because every percentage of attack block is worth 2 spell blocks. So for example, this node right here, which gives me 3% attack block, is actually worth 6% spell block once you're capped. That's how this keystone works. So I'm currently not block capped, but that is because I couldn't get my implicit yet. On the Exarch, I think it is. Yeah, on the Eater of Worlds implicit, you want either Fizz taken as Ellie, or you want, in my case, I would want attack block. There's also tattoos for attack block, but they're currently not really available. You can tattoo them over the strength. And then there's obviously also the Unnatural Instinct right here, which would straight up fix everything. But I mean, Unnatural Instinct is quite expensive right now. So that's a thing. 100% suppress. I'm currently, I think, pretty close. Yeah, I'm at like a level 11% off. If you are very off, you can also go for lucky. I'm probably going to respec this right now. I just woke up and I'm going to go for quick step, and then I'm going to be capped. Then you also have the playstyle, which, yeah, if you don't know, if you shield charge into packs and then you place your totems, you're going to die. Now, I do that actually on a lot of totem builds, but this is not the league for it. You're going to die. It is the league for that, and it is what it is. I don't know what else to say. It is a weird pairing of kind of gauntlet mods, extra map modifiers with one of the sweatiest things like idols, which doesn't give you a lot of early power, but it is what it is. At least we get the power from the breach tree. Talking about breach tree, in general, you can go for a wand craft if you want to. What I'm personally doing is I'm going for ES gear. So I'm going for extra chance for intelligence requirement, less chance for dexterity, less chance for strength requirement. And then I'm going for increased defense modifiers. I have already sold a few 1100 plus energy shield body armors. You can also go for reduced chance for mana modifiers and reduced chance for fizz modifiers, because this means that your prefixes are a little bit more clean, right? So this makes it less likely to get reflect fizz, and this makes it less likely to get mana, which is one of the most common mods in general. Also go for this node right here as soon as possible if you get a Twilight Regalia with upwards of 26-27% quality. Just the base on its own is already money, and obviously if you get a 6 link, you can also sell it. Back to the build though, I'll go over some stuff. So the first thing is your wand. What you want is a wand with a ton of added flat damage in the prefix. Now, yes, you do get a lot of flat damage from Paladin. I realize that. However, it's not always perfectly up, especially while clearing. You have to kill stuff first to get it. So it's still a little bit of a balancing act. You don't want to have both at the same time. Sure, on bosses, it's always up. But the way you do this is with essences, as is tradition. Slam a deafening essence on a wand base. Now, if you can, the wand right here, if you can get a fractured one with any sort of relevant stat. If there is already flat damage on the wand, that's great. Crit chance is great. Attack speed is so-and-so. It depends on what you're going to do with it. Crit multi is very strong. Now, the essences, as always, are Anger, then Wrath, and I forgot the third one, the cold one, the one that gives cold damage. Either way, those are the most important ones. You want flat damage in your prefixes. If you can get spell damage in your prefixes, that's nice, but on the kinetic wand, unless you're using Essence of Woe, you cannot. But as you can see right here, for example, I have it crafted. If I wanted to make this wand really nice, I would have to first annul off the stun duration on enemies and then go for crafted modifiers, right? I go for can have up to 3 crafted modifiers, and then I'm multi-modded. And this is going to be a lot of your damage. Now, second up is Wilma's, which is probably the most expensive thing I currently have right here. Let's check how much it is as of this recording, like 60 chaos. This one is very strong. And yes, the reduced cast speed on Dodres does work against it. However, it's still good enough to keep for a while. You can see it for yourself, but 100 spell damage still means 150% increased damage with Kinetic Fusillade. So yeah, Ancestral Bond also gives you a lot of accuracy. And at this stage, I want to tell you to please check your accuracy. A lot of people are running around with like 95 and 93% right here. If you still need more, you can also grab Acuity. As for Amulet, I now have a Warped Timepiece. Reduced skill effect duration depends on what you need. As much attack and cast speed as possible. It does get converted with Wilma's into attack speed. And you want to get a timepiece also because then you can anoint it without having to, yeah, otherwise you're going to over and over have to redo your anoint, and the anoint is quite strong because you can go for disintegration. It gives you crit multi, and also int, which you're pretty starved on. And on that note, if you have problems with int, you probably have the wrong wand base. There's wand bases that need you to have like 240 int, which I had for a while as well, but it is a hassle to get that much. Now I'm sitting at around about 210. The res hasn't really changed. After that, yeah, like I said, Chaos Res, really important. This is still the ring from my acts. You can see right here that I have a minus mana cost. This one has helped quite a bit. As you can see, I've reserved a lot of mana. I also included a clarity for the extra regen. But yeah, that's how I solved that. My belt is just for Chaos Res once again. I just didn't want to die. 30 move speed if you can get it. Otherwise, go for 25. It is what it is. If you can get more stats on it for that, that's probably worth. Shield, quite important as well. So there's two things to this. First, if you want to block cap, you need a chance to block roll on your shield. And make sure you have a shield with decent block chance, because this scales your mastery, the shield mastery. Chance to block attack damage per 5% block. So for example, if you reach 40 or 45, you will get an extra percentage. So that's why it might be harder or easier for you to cap. Flasks, I mean, I would put in a quartz flask as soon as possible. But as you can see, these are complete dog shit. I haven't even automated them yet. It's probably next on my list. Jade flask is pretty good, but in general, just get yourself a quartz flask and a life flask. Other than that, once again, Heart of Flame, super strong. I haven't really thought about my second graft yet all that much. And yeah, as for gems, super important, Kinetic Fusillade and less duration. You really want to get as much quality as possible on them as fast as possible. They have the best quality. This one gives even less duration. And this one gives more damage per extra projectile in the sequence. Both super, super strong. Other than that, not much to say. I did replace Life Tap with Inspiration because Life Tap gets the reduced duration, which I did not know, and Inspiration doesn't, because Inspiration is charges. So yeah, it keeps the 10-second duration, so you're never going to run out of Inspiration, but Life Tap does not really work. It's really, really weird. Oh, that's a nice sale for me right now. Okay, what else did I change? Frost Blink, Precision, pretty straightforward. Now, I did make a Arcanist brand setup. It's a little bit different from what I did before. I used to have my curse in there, but since ballistas are hitting so fast and your tornado can only be hit 20 times, I actually removed that so it can focus on only casting tornado, and I even put faster casting in there. So faster casting, more duration, both for the tornado. The more duration is only there for Arcanist brand, so it's not as annoying to recast it over and over because of the skill effect, the less skill effect duration. So that is that. Frenzy with GMP and Power Charge on crit. The reason I have GMP in here is because if you don't, you have multi-shot and then it forks out and you actually don't hit your target. It's very awkward. So that's what I have currently in. I'm going to have to think about how I solve that. Shield Charge, Faster Attack, Momentum, Life Tap. Probably not necessary to have enough 4-link, but I did have the links. And here you see I have Mark on hit with Sniper's Mark. That's how I solved, and I saved a button. So whenever I press my Frenzy, I'm also cursing stuff. As for Ascendancy, I did take the Consecrated Ground third, and the reasoning is that there's a lot of curses in maps now with the extra map modifiers. So Curse Ground gives 50% reduced effect of curses, plus the Curse Ground effect 75% reduced. So if you noticed that temp chains, you don't really feel it, that is why. It is always up, always, always, always. Even if you move, so you can see right here, it goes down. As soon as you place a ballista, very shortly, like just a fraction of a second, you do count as stationary. So you always have it up. It is impossible not to have it up. And the second thing, as a fourth ascendancy, I take the Bring the Battle. And I just want to remind you that the Totem Taunt Mastery is not very good. Totems taunt enemies around them for 1 second when stunned. It is... when summoned, it is not very good. It's not a big radius, and also you don't always place totems near enemies, and it's only 1 second. It's super bait. It's like a POB thing. Sure, you can do it, but it is not reliable. You want a Murderous Eye Jewel or whatever jewel, I don't know if it can roll somewhere else, but with at least 6% chance to taunt enemies. Lower than that, and it gets too inconsistent, it goes up to 8%. Other than that, on the passive tree, I did respec my starting node, so I'm now on the attack speed side. I grab all the block. I don't think I changed too much from what we said. Crit, for people who are asking, I went round about level 70. You spec out of Precise Technique and you go into crit. Just don't forget about that. The life nodes right here aren't that important. Thick Skin is just a little bit more life. I think those are like the last nodes I've taken because we already have ailment immunity, so you don't need the chance to avoid ailments. It's really just for the life. This mastery is super important, as always. We don't really have any pen, which I'm willing to solve soon. And other than that, yeah, just get enough to not die too much. everybody dies this patch. It is what it is. I currently have, let's actually see. I currently have 40 deaths. In my campaign, I actually only had 2, so I'm pretty proud about that, but that is about it. Now, a little bit of idle talk here at the end. If you want to make some early currency, just a little bit, it's not a big deal, but if you can get Final Boss in each map has a chance to drop a Shaper Guardian map. The same mod also exists for Elder Guardians, for synthesized maps, and for Conqueror maps, so these are quite strong, and they just give you a little bit of extra currency. Whenever you drop one, you get like 5 to 10 extra chaos, which can help a lot. So do look at your idols and kind of get a grasp on what's worth. If you do, there is a ton of idols that are worth money. I've already sold, I don't know, 4 or 5 divines worth. I've only dropped 1 divine so far. Everything else has just been coming from my idols. And there is no easy way to tell you because there's so many strats out there. You just kind of have to go through and check the mods. What I will tell you is the big hitters are either 1x3s, 3x1s, so Totemic or Burials, which sometimes have expensive mods, but once again, the biggest modifiers are on 2x2s. These have build or idol defining modifiers that can be worth upwards to 1, 2, 3, 4 divines. Sometimes if you have a certain combination that synergizes, it could even be upwards to 10 or more divines. But yeah, that's about all I got for today. Phrecia is definitely a hard event, but I'm having a blast right now. Prepping this build and thinking about maybe also league starting this for 3.28. We would have to test it obviously on the different Ascendancy, but I love the playstyle so far. Absolutely loving the build and can't wait to complete some bosses now. I have to finally do Exarch and Eater. I was a little bit scared because of all the gauntlet stuff, but I'm now have to unlock everything so I get the rest of my idol slots. And yeah, definitely do some research on idols, what people are using, what they're playing. Look at the modifiers, maybe think about it yourself. What could you be farming? If you have a good idea and you can actually put a farm together with like all the idols, you will be surprised by how much currency you can generate. Either way though, see you guys tomorrow, next update every day. And with that being said, since I still don't have a slogan, see you next time.